How was training? How was the Traeger? Good?
Right.
Yeah, that's a nice facility, isn't it? Yeah. What I'm going to ask you guys to do is this, especially the guys in the back there, I want all you guys to move up to the front, all right? Keenan's might be coming back in, but other than there, come on, move up to the front, all right? Come on, make it close. We don't have too many people in here, so we want to make it nice and close, intimate, friendly, engaging. Come on, move down if you're in the back, move down close. Want to give a count?
On up there. These two rows, you'll move up. So that way.
Yeah. You guys can stay. You guys stay right there.
Come on, you guys, come on. Up here. Nice.
Go ahead.
Come on, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Come on.
So much food.
Get up in there, guys. Don't fight it.
Come on, if you're in the back row there, come on up here. If you're in the next row, come on up here. Come on.
He's going there.
Come on up.
Try and get him good shots.
Jimmy, when we talk to you guys, how many did recognize Jimmy in that last picture? Did you see Jimmy Crick in that last picture, the senior? When we talk to you and the team about class, and when you get to class, where do we recommend you sit?
In the front row.
In the front row. Why?
So you pay attention and the teachers get to know who you are.
Yes. Pay attention. You know what? It's very difficult not to be engaged if you're in the front row. It's very difficult not to be attentive and alert when you're in the front row. Now, when you're that guy in that seat back there, I'm always wondering what you're hiding. Up here, you guys, you know what? The people that come in and sit up front aren't hiding anything. They're saying, here I am. I'm ready. I'm attentive. It's the ones in the back that there's no engagement.
All the seats were taken already.
Excuse me?
All the seats right there were taken already.
There's still one here. There's one right there. Now, what I know is this.
Fail.
What I know is this. Is especially with kids your age, there's a lack of engagement going on in our society. There's a lack of connection, of really being there. How many own a phone? How many have a phone? Okay, so tell me if this is not true. I'll tell you a quick story. You guys might have seen Tyler, our oldest son. All right, he's here at camp. A few years ago, we got him his first phone. All right, and he has his first phone, and he wakes up one day, and he's kind of lounging around the house. In our house, we don't tolerate it. We don't like it, and he was just lounging around, not being productive. Really had no purpose to the day. And we finally, encouraging him to do something. We said, hey, look, there's a female friend that he had, that they went to the same school, right across the street. We said to him, Tyler, look, why don't you just go over there and see what she's doing? Maybe you guys can hang out. Go find somebody to hang out with, do something. Because all you're doing is just sitting around the house. So we finally convinced him to do it. So he grabs his phone and he starts going like this. I said, Tyler, what are you doing? She's like right across the street. All you have to do is walk across the street and you're texting her. She's right there. What are you doing? And she said, Dad, it's not me. You see, if I go over there and knock on her door and ask her what she's doing, she has to right then and there answer me. She has to decide right there with me being there of what she's going to do. That's not fair to do because that's going to be uncomfortable for that engagement. Is that true in your lives? Is that true? I text many of our players. All right? In fact, you know what I'll do? I'll call them. I'll call our guys. I dial them on the phone because I like talking to them. I want to have that conversation with them. And I call them. In most cases, I don't get an answer. Most cases. So then I text them, guess what? Get it right back. Now why? Call, don't get an answer, text, right back. You know why? Because when I call, they have no idea what I'm calling about. They have no idea what the question might be. And it's easier in a text, because now I can sit there and think about it and reply. There's no engagement. And you, in your lives, need to have engagement. If you want to be, I will tell you, if you want to be the best soccer player you want to be, if you want to be the best student you want to be, if you want to be the best person you want to be, there needs to be a connection and some engagement in your life where you put yourself out there at the risk that it may not go exactly the way you want. You have to put yourself out there. And you know what? There might be some failure at times. You might not have the right words. You might not know exactly what to say. But it will prepare you for the next time. There's too much we fear engagement. So, would you say again, for you, texting is much easier, yes? That's how you guys communicate most of the time, yes? Well, good. That's not what I want to talk about, but I will say this, that when we get together, and there is a speaker here, whether it's me or somebody else, I would expect that you guys to sit up front and not in the back, because it's also a sign of respect for whoever the speaker is, all right, that you're attentive. Okay? Yes?
Have you ever read the book Fahrenheit 451?
What is it?
Oh, Fahrenheit 451.
No, I'm not.
Talk a lot about that.
Yes, I will have to read it then. That's a good suggestion. I will make a note of that. How many players here have aspirations or hopes of playing college soccer? How many at Division I level? How many at the University of Louisville? I mean, how many coming here would say there's an interest in playing for the University of Louisville? Okay. Now, having said that, would it be helpful if I told you guys what we're looking for at the University of Louisville?
Yeah.
Would that interest you? Would it be helpful? Okay, good. So we're going to start by this, though. I'm going to ask you some questions. There was a player sitting in the last group that we had, one of the older groups. His name was Pablo Aguilar, and he was actually here on campus visiting a few months ago. And when he was here, not only did he ask us some questions about us, the program, and the university, but most importantly, we asked him questions. In fact, we asked him 6 very specific questions that we ask every recruit that comes to our program. How they answer those questions are very, very important. And I'm going to start by asking you some questions, because before I tell you how we view and what we value in players, I want to find out what you guys value in players, what you see as important. All right? Now, many of you play different positions, and with that, maybe see yourself in very famous guys. For me, it would be, when I played the game, the guy that I relate to most is Zombie. Because I was never athletic, obviously not big. All right? But I had the ability to connect passes, find the next guy, keep the ball moving, help other players become better simply because I was on the field. That's how I saw myself. Those were my gifts. That's where I relate to him as a player. For you guys, who is it that you relate to? Who is it that you value on the field and you see yourself as a right back, as a deep midfielder, as a center back, as a forward? Who is it that you guys value? Yes?
Garrett Cahill.
How come?
I think he's very technical center back. Like, he's not like super strong or super fast, but he's more like good at the game, stuff like that.
All right. Very smart, tactically sound. Yes. Is that what you see in yourself as well?
I would like to, I don't know.
Okay, okay. So as you are as a player and what you value, any others? Yes?
Ashley Cole.
Cole? How come? What do you value in him? What do you see?
He's a wing back, so he's obviously good at defending, but he also knows when to get up and to help his team in the attack as well as defense.
Very modern, isn't it, outside back that can defend but also add to the attack, be dangerous in the attack, add in the attack, even create goals in the attack. And are you left-sided?
Yes.
Okay, even more so, left-sided one. All right, very good, very good. Anybody else? Anybody else have a player that they like?
Joe Hart.
Who's that? Joe Hart. Okay, what do you? Obviously a keeper.
Big. Looks like a leader. He's just big and athletic. I like him for that, and I'm pretty big.
His physical qualities you like, you
Yeah.
identify with. Yeah. And he moves pretty well for a big guy. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else about his game that you value? You like the physical qualities. An important part of being a good soccer player. We'll talk about that as well. All right? Anybody else? Any other players? Any of the coaches? Any of the coaches? Come on, Simon. Who is it?
I also done Percy until a few days ago.
Should we put VP up there, Van Persie? What before a couple of days ago, what did you value?
I liked his movement and his incredible at finishing the ball. He scores great goals.
And his versatility as a forward, to be a lot of different things, to create goals himself, but also to play in combination with others. Right? Who? Okay. Any of the other coaches? Stefan, anybody?
When I played, I looked up to Makaleva.
Makaleva? All right. I'm not sure I spelled that right. Makaleva. Why?
Because he got the job done.
Hey guys, one of the rules here is while somebody else is speaking, we need to respect them and be quiet, because what happens is if you're speaking while they're speaking, not only do you miss it, but the guy you're speaking to misses it as well. It's not fair for anybody. So you're saying I'm Makaleva.
He just did the most out of his potential. He know what he was good at, and he was a team player. Like, he didn't need the ball all the time, and he just did the smart things what the team needed. If he needed to run what 3 other players, he would do that, and whatever it took for the team to be successful, he would do.
Absolutely. Loved him. Loved him from that. It wasn't flash, hardworking, solid, but the team got it. The team got it. Yeah. Huh? Key and I played together. Yeah, I was a few years older than Kia. You wouldn't know it now. But I was a few years older than Kia. He said he looked up to me, I think, because I would do a lot of the work. And Kia scored all the goals. He was a really good, what's that? No, he was a very good goal scorer. Very good goal scorer. Did you have somebody you wanted? Walcott. Walcott. All right. How come with Walcott? Fast. So you got some pace. Okay, and he plays hard. Again, some good physical qualities. Really good physical qualities. Coaches?
Gerard Piqué.
All right. And how come for Piqué?
As a center back, he knows he's versatile. He can get up. He can defend as well. Strong in the air. Knows the system. Plays within the system very well.
Yeah. Almost dominating at times in the back. And the way Barcelona plays, they expose their 2 center backs quite a bit. And the 2 center backs have to be able to defend not only even numbers, but even numbers high up the field with a lot of space in behind them. And his athletic ability and his ability to read the game allows them to do that. It's hard on defenders to defend that high up the field with that much space, and I think Barcelona's defenders do that very, very well. They expose them and give them a lot to deal with. They're good. He's one of the best. Messi. Messi. I like that. Now, how come for Messi?
small and he's like he knows what to do. He plays big.
He plays big. He does. He does. You know what I love most about Messi? What I love most is this. Is there's a video about this as well. Is that how many times he gets kicked and whacked and pulled and is yanked down and slapped and just abused during the game, and he gets up and he keeps playing. That he just keeps going. Very, very few times you see him complaining or even looking at the referee and moaning about it. He gets up and keeps playing. And for a guy that his size, a guy that's small and as much as physical punishment he takes, he gets up and he keeps going. Not only does he have tremendous physical qualities and technical ability, scores a ton of goals, but I think his perseverance and demeanor is great. So, good. We got a pretty good list up there, would you say? Messi being on a high end, and forward, PK, defender, Makaleli, a midfielder. We got a lot of different guys. Goalkeeper, hard on the list. Okay, so we have a bunch of different guys. What is it, though, characteristic-wise? What is it, if we pull all the characteristics from those guys, the best characteristics from them, what would the ideal player look like? Because when we're thinking about at the University of Louisville, what are the characteristics we want to see, we're looking from an ideal standpoint. What is it that we're looking for? We're looking for the best. So what is it? What are the characteristics of those guys? You pull them out. What are the ideal characteristics of the best player? Yeah.
Creativity.
Creativity. All right. Good. That's good. Yes.
Oh, hard work.
Hard work. Okay. What else? Tolerant. Very good. Let's see where we're going to put that. There. Put it here. We can put that a couple of different places. That's a good one. Yes.
Team players.
Team player. Very good. Very good. Yes.
Very smart.
Smart.
Smart player.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? We're going to put this also. We're going to put, hard work there. All right?
Sportsmanship.
Sportsmanship. Very good. All right. And you know, when Barcelona talks about the most important qualities in players and what they feel is most important to teach, one of the number one things is sportsmanship. It's how they handle themselves. Yes?
He's a smart player on and off the field. He's someone that would represent your school really well.
Smart, and then what else would you want to say off the field about him?
He represents your school well.
Represented. Yeah.
Can you create options during a situation?
Okay, we have creativity, which is good. I think that's, yeah.
Aggressiveness.
Aggressive. Okay. Okay. Yes. Confidence. Very good. Very good one. Now we'll, well. Very good. These are good ones. We're moving along. Yes? Coachable. That's very good. Very, very good. We'll get a few more in. Yes?
Calm.
Calm, composed. Yeah, composed. Put that in here. we'll go on this side, yes.
Awareness.
Awareness, yes. Good. Physicality. All right. One more. One more, we'll go one more. This one, we go here yet?
Oh, never give up.
Persevere. Okay. Now, if somebody were to paint a picture for you, of you, and these were some of the words that they said about you, then they pulled you up in front and they stood you here and said, oh, let me tell you about Joe here. Joe is tolerant, has sportsmanship, representative of his team, well, confident, coachable, creative, smart, composed, hardworking, impressive team player. Pretty impressive player. Pretty impressive player. And a lot of these qualities are qualities that we look for. Now, the number one, above and beyond anything for us at U of L, is we look at the character. Because we know that when we go out and watch you play and the recruiting process, we may see a talented player, but that's only where the recruiting process starts. That we go out and see you play, and the fact that you may have some technical ability, you may have a special part of your game that is significant, you may be physically very good, and those are attractive and they catch our attention. That's only where the recruiting starts, because we know that we're looking for a way to reach the mountaintop. We want to gain and grow and get to a better place. What I know is that for that to happen, the determining factor is who you are. That's why we ask the 6 questions we ask. We want to know who you are. That will determine your growth. That will determine your success. That will determine how close you come to reaching that top of the mountain. Things like honesty, integrity, huge. Dependability, massive. Because what we know is this, is that there are a lot of guys that we see as very talented soccer players. And then what happens is we get their transcript. Part of the recruiting process is we need to have their transcripts before we can have them on campus for any kind of visit, official or unofficial. So we see this talented player, we get his transcripts, and what we see is that he's at a 2.1, 2.2, 2.3 GPA. And now we're scratching our head trying to figure it out, because what I know is that to be a very good soccer player, you have to be smart. You have to have a good mind to understand the game, to solve problems, to figure out situations that are going on. You have to have a pretty good brain. So it doesn't always correlate for us that we see, well, he's good on the soccer field, but in the classroom, he's let it go. There's something missing there. It's not congruent. From an integrity standpoint, you're saying, I'm willing to work here, but I'm not willing to work here. And you can say, well, this doesn't interest me. That doesn't matter. Because you see, you can sit in the back of the class there, acting like you don't care, acting like it doesn't matter, and not putting any effort in, but you must take your character with you when you leave. You cannot leave your character behind. You take it with you everywhere you go. So you decide to sit in the back of the class and you act like it doesn't matter and you don't care. You're building your character there because it stays with you. So for us, when we're recruiting, we're looking for the people that have integrity in everything they do. In the classroom, on the soccer field, in the community. that do it all right at the highest level with integrity. Because that will determine when we get you in a situation and we put you on the field, we want to make sure that you're not saying, oh, well, that's not my position. Oh, I don't think that I should be doing that. Oh, I think that's a little bit too uncomfortable for me in that situation. Because you see, we have to have the ability to depend on certain people. We have to trust people to act in a certain way. And if you don't build up that trust, if you don't have the integrity and the honesty, this isn't the place for you. So as you guys start thinking about wanting to play at the University of Louisville, understand that we're looking for people of character first. People that have that integrity and that honesty and will build up that trust in everything they do. The second thing is, what we know is that you do need ability. You have to have ability. Look, you have to be smart, composed, awareness, physicality. One of the things that not anybody really pulled out of there is are they technical? One of the biggest differences between players that want to play at the University of Louisville and do and can are their technical ability. Tell me what technical ability is. What is that? What is it? Ball skill. How do you guys get better at ball skill? Tell me. Raise your hand. Practicing with the ball. You have to spend time with the ball. If you want to get good with the ball, there's no secret. You have to spend time with the ball. How many people does that take? What? One person, one ball. You watch Paolo play for us. Paolo technically is very good. He'll be playing in the MLS. Why? He has spent more time with the ball than anybody else. That's why. Simple. You find the wall, you smack it against the wall, you juggle, run with it. It doesn't matter. There's no secret. It's simple. You want to improve your technical ability, you need to spend time with the ball. When I was growing up, I had a backyard, and I couldn't tell you how many games I played in my backyard. Me, one ball. I'd play the whole game. Saw it in my head. Dribbling, running by guys, losing defenders, scoring goals. Here, in my own mind, me, one ball. The beauty of it was, look, I played the whole game and I had the ball the whole time. How wonderful is that? Never lost it. Nobody ever took it from me. It was only when I shot that I lost it. And look, if I missed the shot, didn't hit the target, I'd get it back and do it again. Over and over and over again. One ball, one play. Look, you can include somebody else. Great. Include a few guys. Great. But there is no excuse if you're not technically good, because all it takes is one person and one ball. Now, there's also the tactical part of it, which adds to the ability. How many guys watch soccer? Yeah, there's plenty of soccer on. When I was growing up, I don't, even these guys probably don't realize, when I was growing up, it was German soccer once in a while that you catch on TV. I grew up when the NASL was going on. I had to drive an hour and a half to watch a game. I was privileged because driving an hour and a half saw some of the best players that ever played the game. All right, the Cosmos, back in Jersey. Wonderful, incredible experience. Now you guys get to watch the game, but you know what? When you guys watch games, how do you watch it? TV. And when you're watching it, how do you watch it? Most times it's like watching a movie. You're just waiting for something spectacular to happen. You're watching it, waiting for a moment that something's incredible. But are you really watching it to get better? Are you watching it as a right back or a left back and seeing what the left back or right back's doing? Are you watching it as a center forward to see how they lose defenders? Are you watching it as a goalkeeper and seeing how what he does to help his teammate in front of him position themselves, or how he deals with balls in the box? You see, tactically we have that ability to grow simply because of what's in front of you. But it's kind of like reading a book. We can read a novel that has no value in substance and get to the end of it and pull nothing out of it. Or you can read something of substance and gain a tremendous experience out of it. It's your choice, how you watch it. All right? But we have it on TV, and you can learn so much by watching soccer in the way you learn. The other part of it is this, the psychology of it. Because being a good player and having ability, there's the technical, tactical, and the psychology of it. And the psychology of it is simply this, it's being mentally tough. Who is your greatest enemy at times? Ourselves. Why? Why? Why is that so? Beat ourselves up. The number one tendency is to have a negative thought. You know why? The number one tendency, our natural tendency is negative thoughts. You know why? Why? Huh? There's tons of them. But why more negative thoughts than ever positive thoughts? Yeah. Here's why. It's a survival mechanism. It's a survival mechanism. In the evolution and the growth of people, what happened was, whenever there was danger, we would spot the danger to make sure we survived. We were always looking for the negative because it was a survival mechanism within us. But what happens now is that our mind continues to spot the negative and too many times dwell on it. How do you combat that? How do we combat that?
You fix it.
Fix it? Yeah, that'd be good. How do you fix it? Yes? Positive thoughts. Now here's the thing. You can't just have no thoughts. Oh, negative thoughts coming in, I'm going to stop thinking. It doesn't happen because thoughts continue all the time. What you have to do is bombard it with positive thoughts. So now you have to create the thoughts by speaking to yourself. The psychology of it is the best players speak to themselves appropriately. Rather than saying, oh no, not again. They're saying, go get the next one. I'm looking for the next one. Go again. Keep working. Rather than saying, uh-oh, or not again. But the ability, again, technically, tactically, psychology, we have to have the ability. The next is responsibility. Responsibility is huge because we're looking for people that not only have the talent and the character, but the responsibility to go with it. How many think that you guys are blessed with a good body? Now listen, if you haven't raised your hand, can you see? Can you hear? Can you speak? Can you walk? Can you run? We are the greatest miracle in the world. Those qualities that we just talked about are unlike any other being or species ever. You are the greatest miracle in the world. Now, the question is, how do you handle that responsibility? You sit here and you say, well, I want to play for the University of Louisville. I would ask you then, how do you take care of the vehicle you're given, the wondrous, fabulous, miraculous vehicle you're given to perform at the highest level? How do you take care of it? I'm asking you, how do you take care of it? What do you do? Yes? Exercise. Do you exercise? Do you work it out to stay fit, to push it to its highest level? Because the players that we have are responsible in doing that. They're responsible in taking care of themselves physically. What else? Eat right. You guys sit here and you say, I want to play at the University of Louisville. Do you eat right? And you're saying, well, look, that's what my parents do. They brought it home. There's soda in the refrigerator. I have to drink it. Do you? How many believe here that if I drink soda the rest of my life, I know I'll play in the EPL? That's wrong. It's wrong. And you have the responsibility not only to understand it, but to seek it out. To find the information. Everybody in here I know can read. If you can read, I know you can get on the internet. If you get on the internet, the information's there. You type in what a healthy soccer player eats. It'll tell you. It'll tell you. How about sleep? The number one thing in recovery for any athlete is sleep. Do you sleep appropriately? You get into bed at the right time. The best athletes, the best soccer players are responsible. With what they're given, they take full responsibility to make it the best they could be. And you have that responsibility not only to yourself, but you're part of a team. The game is a team game. There's a story about Charles Barkley. Anybody ever hear of Charles Barkley? Great, very good soccer, basketball player. Sorry. You wish you could play soccer. He was a great basketball player. Great to a certain extent. He's sitting in a clubhouse after a charity golf event, right? Golf event they played for a benefit of raising money for cancer. Lou Holtz, who was a really top-notch football coach, Notre Dame, won national championship. Lou Holtz and Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, probably the best basketball player ever played the game. They're sitting there talking. And Michael's talking to Lou Holtz, and he says to Lou, he says, you and I are two of the very few people ever to win national championships. And he looks over at Charles over there, and he says, you see him? He'll never win a national championship. These two were friends. Michael and Charles, they were friends. He says it loud enough for Charles to hear it. Charles says, Michael, how can you say that about me? How can you say that I'm never going to win? And that's what he says, how much do you weigh right now? You see, what happened was the NBA was in a lockout. They weren't even playing the season right now. He says, how much do you weigh, Charles? He says, I weigh 30 pounds overweight, but we have 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks until the lockout's done, and we're playing the season. I'll be fit and ready to go. He says, that's exactly why you'll never win a championship. You see, you don't win it when it's easy and convenient. You win it every single day of your life. You are responsible every single day of your life. Responsible. He said, furthermore, Charles, you're the leader of the team. You have to set the example for the rest of the team. And if you're showing up 30 pounds overweight, what kind of example are you setting for your team? Michael Jordan was right. He never won. Responsible. So important. Much like Michael was talking about, the next thing is discipline. Because like our national team coach, Jurgen Klinsmann, says right now, there has to be discipline to be successful. He uses a different word, and I'm not sure for Jurgen whether it's because of his second language or he actually uses this word as a word that is powerful and really tells a story, but he says, we as a country, our best players aren't good enough because they don't know how to suffer. They don't suffer enough. You see, there has to be some sacrifice. You have to give up something to get something. And the greatest athletes, these greatest soccer players, are willing to sacrifice something, be disciplined in their lives to get something else out of it. if you make those sacrifices every single day, those small little sacrifices every single day, what happens over time, it compounds. And when that compounds over time, ultimately there ends up being this huge harvest. I've done these seminars, and it's an interesting one that we start here, this is our point, and this is where we want to go. And what happens is that is a direct line in that direction, but we start here and we start justifying to ourselves that, you know what, to do it every single day, that's hard to do, and not everybody really does it every single day, so I'm going to do it every other day. Whatever it might be, work out, read, eat right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to deviate just a little bit. You guys take geometry, probably some of you. So the angle is very slight. Not big, just very slight. Not a big difference. Today I'm not going to do it. It's not that big of a deal. But what we find out is 10 years later, when we take that path, that what happens is now we're light years away from where we ever wanted to be. Because you compound that one thing that you didn't do today over time, over and over again, and you find yourself a distance away from where you want to be, looking around saying, how did I ever get here? This is no place I want to be. Your choice. Are you disciplined enough to do it every single day? Because when you do, what happens is you get on this path, and there's an acceleration when you do the right things every day. And it happens so fast, you build this momentum that it's almost like things start coming at you. And you start simply receiving things into your life because you're disciplined every single day to do the right things, to eat right, sleep right, work hard, spend time with the ball, those things that you need to do. All right? The last one, we had somebody talk about it here. Selfless. What I love most about the game of soccer is it's a team sport. It is not swimming, it is not tennis, it's not ping pong. You guys playing, we only have 2 paddles, so it's one-on-one there, and it's one person against the next. I'm looking forward to getting 4 paddles in there, because when you got 4 paddles, now you're playing as a team. You play 2 against 2, and it's wonderful to see the dynamic of that, where you have to rely on each other to be successful. It's one of the greatest things about the game of soccer. It's a team sport. You cannot reach the summit on your own. You cannot get there on your own. You have to have the help of other people, and you must help other people. It's the ones that are willing to sacrifice of themselves for the good of the team that are the best. We had a guy up here, Iniesta. Somebody said Iniesta was a guy that they recommended that we put up there. What a humble guy he is. What a humble player he is. What a selfless player he is. He's never looking for the glory, and there's times where he deserves it. But it's all about, how do I make the guys around me better? How do I make this a better team? And the best players are selfless players. So you want to join U of L. You want to be one of our players. What you do is remember this. All right? That's who we are. That's who we are. We're the cards. In character, ability, responsibility, discipline, and selfless. That's why we've been successful. That's why we'll win national championships. That's why we've grown to be one of the best programs in the country. And we will continue to.